take us to city manager comments.
Thank you. Tonight, I just wanted to acknowledge from the airport fire, it's kind of a team approach when we responded, and wanted to thank the community and local businesses for supporting the shelter for certain days, and the county also supported them. But I wanted to thank IHOP, McDonald's, Raising Cane's, and Jersey Mike's for stepping up and providing food for those that were in the shelter during the airport fire. That's all.
Thank you, sir. City attorney comments.
No comments this evening, thank you.
City treasurer comments.
No comments, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. City council comments. We'll start with Councilman McGee.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. We'll go to the slides first. Tomorrow, the long-anticipated and super-funded draft environmental impact report for the I-15 express lanes will be released to the public. This is the public's opportunity to comment on 2 toll lanes in either direction between Cajalco and the city of Lake Elsinore. The lanes will be constructed within the existing right-of-way, what you would see as the median as you travel up and down the 15. This is the first step in a lengthy process. We still do not have funding to construct this project, but we need to get through the environmental process first. There will be a public meeting right here in this building on Wednesday, October 23rd from 6 to 8, when you can come and ask questions of staff members with the Riverside County Transportation Commission and find out what the project is all about, where the funding might come from, and when we anticipate being able to build this. So this is long overdue, and we continue to work in the right direction. Next item is Lake Watch update. We continue to have no advisory levels within the lake. Our formula is working with algicide and with the nano bubbler. Our second nano bubbler is being constructed and erected right now as we speak, and within the next 10 days, it shall be operational. Our lake level is nice and high. It's still 1246, and things are looking good. I believe by spring of next year, you're going to see a difference in not only the water quality, but the clarity throughout our lake as we put online Nano Bubbler 2 and Nano Bubbler 3. So we're going to continue to push forward with the help of our staff, and hopefully we will stop having algae blooms altogether. Last item, we will have once again an Autocross challenge on Saturday, October 12th in parking lot C of Diamond Stadium. This group is called Corner Exit. They are a little bit more competitive, and you will see a little bit higher end vehicle if you come out. Again, this is free for the public to come out and watch. The owners are generally very supportive of allowing people to get near their vehicles, and you're able to walk through the pits and ask them questions. So if you are a car enthusiast, come on down Saturday. First car goes off at 9 a.m. And with that, I yield the floor.
Thank you, Councilman McGee. That takes us to Councilwoman Johnson.
Thank you, sir. Before I move to my first slide, I wanted to say congratulations to the mayor. Last night, the Lake Elsinore Unified School District, PTSA, and the Elsinore Women's Club held the candidate forum, and there were, out of the 12 candidates we have locally, we heard from 9. It was a successful event. It's always great for the public to be able to hear their vision and how they plan to, the ideas to shape the community and its future. So just wanted to say thank you to the PTSA and to the Women's Club. I'll go to my first slide. This week, as I sit on the Riverside Conservation Authority for Lake Elsinore, a lot of things, some good things, some interesting things, and some things that make you scratch your head a little bit. First up, I want to say we closed escrow yesterday on 21 acres in the back basin, and that project and that transaction has been years in the making. So I want to thank staff, specifically our city attorney, who worked very hard to make that happen. So While that seems simple, the back basin is a very interesting area with conservation land, and we've worked hard to put parcels together to meet our conservation goals. So very exciting. I'm going to go to the next slide. It's still an RCA update, but we had lots of conversation about this beautiful bee. He has a very unfortunate name, but he is a very important little guy. This is the Crotch's bumblebee, and he's named after actually a British entomologist named George Robert Crouch. What has happened, let me tell you about the bee first. This bee is native to 2/3 of California, very important to agriculture. Dry, grassy lands and scrub brushes is kind of where this bee habitat is known to be documented. However, needs the nectar and the pollen to do what it does, which is to help with pollinating our agriculture and making our ecosystem work. So it's really important. Everyone, if you've been on social media, you'll see Save the Bees. But this particular bee is interesting because the Conservation Authority has 146 species that are covered. In 20 years, we have never identified another species that potentially could be listed. And this bee, in 2019, an application was made and is now making some progress in being what we call mandated listing for a species. Why that's important and why people are having discussions right now is because currently if you have a development project in a conservation area and you identify a species, the RCA MSHCP, or Multiple Species Habitat Plan, protects you and helps you work your way through that process, including some of our roadways like RTC, all these acronyms tonight, RCTC, it's in my head, I just can't say it. The Crotch's bumblebee name just has me shook. But so basically what's happened is those protections allow developers to, I wouldn't say expedite the process, but without the process and the plan, individual take permits would need to happen for each species that's identified. So this list has been very comprehensive, helpful, and now we have this bee who's not on the list. So what's happening is it is now what they're calling common endangered, and it's only seen in 1/3 of California. RCA, while it's not a listed species right now, lots of member agencies and cities are getting calls from developers saying, I now cannot just move my project through the regular MSHCP permitting, I have to get an additional take permit. And guys, this is not a cheap endeavor. So what we're doing now as a organization is we approved a consultant to prepare a potential what it takes to amend the plan to add this species, and we will wait for California, our Fish and Wildlife and CESA to decide whether or not we're going to move forward. If we do, RCA will be ready for implementation of this mandated species, but you are going to hear lots about this unfortunate but beautiful little guy coming up because it does impact our development. And there's some significant roadway projects, much like the one that my colleague just described, like expressways and such that could be impacted because of this little bumblebee. So we're working on it, and I will keep you updated. My next slide is Animal Friends of the Valley, our animal shelter. We have a JPA with all our member agents, all cities that are a part of the member agency, and we talked about some budgeting. We unfortunately were not able to get to the approving of the budget, but what we did was work towards getting the shelter operation agreement up. And we are going to actually we only meet twice a year, but we're going to meet at the end of this year to make sure that we can wrap up the year successfully with a plan and direction. The budget subcommittee wanted a little bit more time, but I wanted to share some highlights with you because I think some of these stats are really impressive. You all know that the shelter opened up its first spay and neuter clinic just recently, in February. And since then, they have already done 1,815 surgeries. They're doing about 20 surgeries a day, but why that's impressive is there's one veterinarian. One veterinarian doing 20 surgeries a day, and that to me it just blows my mind. They've done over 13,763 low-cost vaccinations and over 1,100 microchips. Here's the kicker. We need more veterinarians. We could double the numbers. The feedback from the clinic has been fantastic. The biggest complaint is that appointments are 3 months out. And as soon as they release another set of appointments, they book up within minutes. So they can't, while we want it to provide a benefit and we understand there's a demand, we have to have the veterinarians to support it. So something that's contributing to that, we were shared some stats that there's some landscape across shelters in the state that are happening right now. Shelters are full, and that's not just a statement. That's what the data shows. Rescues are full, which is even more challenging because rescues take a majority of our shelter residents, and the vet shortages are astronomical, and not for just like the shelters. We're talking the private veterinarians, which is why your veterinarian costs are insane. So we're really not sure if you can't get a veterinarian because they're charging these incredible prices. Getting one to work for a reduced cost at a shelter clinic for spay and neuter is even harder. So here's the ask. If you know of someone that maybe is trying to wind down in their career but still wants to stay engaged, a veterinarian, Animal Friends of the Valley is seeking 1 to 2 more veterinarians. One more ask, resources and donations are really low at the shelter, and every once in a while they'll do a kind of a focus. Right now, kitty litter is in high need. So if you have some lying around, not sure why you would, but if you do, they need it. Or if you're at the store and you want to grab some, that would be great. The shelter is actually working on their cattery. They're redoing their cattery. If you've ever walked in the doors, right to the left is the whole cat section. They're redoing that as a part of their shelter updates. So really good updates from the shelter. They always do amazing work. The last stat I'm going to share with you is going to be super surprising. The owner turn-in rates are higher now than they were during COVID.
Wow.
Pre-COVID, after COVID, the year after COVID, everyone got puppies because everybody was home. And then a year when people started going back to work, they all got surrendered. Right, and so shelter numbers were high, and then they worked really hard to bring them down and do clear the shelter events and all kinds of great things, and that was fantastic. But guess what? They're back up again. It might be, the economy, just everything, dog food, cat food, everything's more expensive. So before you purchase or need a new furry friend, please check out the Animal Friends of the Valley. Go down to the shelter. We need to clear the shelter again. So. Lots of good stuff with Animal Friends of the Valley. We'll move on to my next slide, which is Homeless Task Force updates. We saw some great results in August and September. I'm going to move right down to the bottom, which is going to bring us to our year-to-date exits. So we have 43 year-to-date exits off the street. That's what that number represents. And the other number that I always highlight because it's so very important and it's such a barrier is the mental health services that are provided. And you can see the number if you can't see it on the screen. 19 folks were street outreach and 5 were provided in the street, and then 5 were provided mental health services from our anchor project. So these are incredible numbers. It's our commitment to continue to give you these numbers every day. We had some conversation today about data-driven decisions and how we move into the next year, so we're going to continue to share this story. So
I'm sorry, I think that graphic is wrong. I think it's 143 and 145.
Oh, you are right. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
All right, I'm moving on to my next slide, and this one is incredibly special. This is, if you don't know her by her face, this is Jeannie Corral, and she is a legacy here in Lake Elsinore, but she was recently awarded the Legacy Award for Supervisor Spiegel's district. And I'm not going to read you her entire write-up because it's a very lengthy write-up, but I want to point out a couple of things that are really important. If you ask Jeannie Corral how long she's been in Lake Elsinore, she will say, since God was a boy. But truly, that translation is about 60 years. Jeannie has served in so many different ways, knowing so much of our history. She's a historian. She served on our school board. She served on our cemetery committee. She's a scout leader. She knows so much about scouting, which blows my mind still. She is an Elsinore Women's Club member. She was just honored for being 50 years as a member in the Elsinore Women's Club. I mean, her stats are super, super impressive, but what's more impressive is she's an accomplished author. She has a book, many, but this one is called If the Walls Could Speak, and it's Elsinore's history from 1891 to 1991. I will just say that there are not a lot of residents in Lake Elsinore committed to loving our community like Jeannie Corral, and to have a legacy of 60 years of service is incredible. So congratulations to Miss Jeannie Corral, well deserved. And we're gonna put some things up on social media for her, but she's not on social media. But anyways, we're gonna make sure we're gonna shout it from the rooftops because she's a very special lady to us. Congratulations. All right, and almost done. We had the pleasure, my colleagues and I, of attending the Canyon Lake State of the City. Mayor Dale Welty did a phenomenal job highlighting why Canyon Lake is uniquely Canyon Lake. It was very well attended, had a great message, and we just wanted to say congratulations to the City of Canyon Lake. And then we did have a double Student of the Month because of the airport fire. We were a little bit behind. Everything got redirected, but we didn't want to miss the opportunity to congratulate these students. And I always say from this, and I'll say it every time I get the chance, that when we hear stories and when we see these students, these particular one percenters, over 22,000 students in our district, and these students as seniors were selected, it makes you really appreciate that our future is bright. No matter what's going on in the polarizing world, know that there are great kids with great aspirations and big dreams, and congratulations to all our students of the month. With that, I will say good night and God bless.
Thank you, Councilwoman Johnson. Councilman Sheridan.
Thank you, Mayor Manos. Good evening, everyone. I am the representative on the RTA Board for the council. We had our Budget and Finance Committee meeting on October 2nd. I chair that board. We approved 2 items that will be sent to the Board of Directors at the end of the month. One was the list of 2024 holiday events, which includes the Lake Elsinore Winterfest. What I mean by holiday events, they're going to send the trolley out for the holiday event, which we'll have the trolley for the Winterfest, which will take place here on December 7th. And also the Dudes of Canyon Hills Christmas Parade, the trolley will be there both on December 11th and December 12th. So look for those 2 holiday events and look for the trolley during those events. We also approved and sent to the board a request to authorize a purchase order to a company called Clever Devices for an incident management solutions program. And the board will consider that at the next board meeting, which, by the way, will take place in Riverside on October 24th. Our T-Now meeting this month is on October 23rd, and I will report on both of those 2 meetings at the next council meeting. Go to the next slide, please. This is a school bond measure, Measure T, and I want folks to know that I support Measure T. I think it's important. We have a terrific school district here in Lake Elsinore. We have a terrific administration, terrific teachers, great students. We need better buildings. And T, for all intent and purposes, will better our buildings around the district. If you vote yes on T, it will upgrade school buildings to meet the current health and safety codes. It will repair and replace deteriorating roofs, HVAC and electrical systems, replace old portable classrooms and build new classrooms, and improve student safety and campus security systems, which obviously is very important. If this measure passes, it will increase the tax that you pay about $28 for every $100,000 of assessed value. So about $105 a year to improve our schools for our students. I think it's worth it. I support it 100%, and I hope you will too. Final point I want to make about this is that LEUSD homeowners currently pay the lowest bond tax rate in Riverside County. So while this will increase taxes, it will not increase taxes significantly, but it will make a huge difference. So I urge you to vote yes on T when you get your ballots this week. Also, if you are in Mayor Manos' district, I urge you to vote for Mayor Manos. I am endorsing him as well. He does an amazing job on this council. I'm proud to serve with him, and please vote for Mayor Manos. Next slide, please. I had a chance to meet with Dr. Ryan Lewis last week. I finally had an opportunity to tour Elenor Elementary School. When this was opened a couple of weeks back, I was unable to attend. I had a work issue. Disregard the fact that elementary is spelled wrong on the slide. We'll work on that in the future. But I want to say thank you to Dr. Lewis for hosting me. I appreciated the opportunity. Next slide, please. Our inaugural ThunderCares golf tournament will take place next Monday, October 14th. We have done very well with sponsors. We've done pretty well with golfers. We have a couple of slots left if you'd like to golf, and we have more than enough spots left if you'd like to sponsor. And of course, what sponsorship means is you give us money and we say thank you. So if you want to do that, feel free to give me a call. I'd be happy to take your money. The inaugural ThunderCares golf tournament, Monday, October 14th at Cross Creek Golf Club in Temecula. It is going to be terrific, and I'm looking forward to it.
I can hear phones ringing right now.
And with that, I say thank you.
Sorry.
With that, I say thank you for the time.
Thank you, Councilman Sheridan. Mayor Pro Tem Tisdale.
Thank you, Mayor. First slide, please. So I'm the representative for the Russon Riverside Council of Government. So this last meeting, just a couple of things. The annual report for streetlights. So the participating cities with WRCOG were able to buy the streetlights that helped us put in cost-efficient lights and helps us with better response and getting the lights fixed. So the report is out, so you can go to the Western Riverside Council of Government's website and pull up the report to see what it costs us, what issues are going on with those and things. So that report was out. And that was a good deal for us. I don't know how many thousands of dollars we've already saved on that. We'll have a report at some point on those lights. The other thing that came up was claimantca.gov. So a lot of people have money out there and property that they don't realize. You might have worked, didn't collect a check, or check got sent back. So everyone should check that out. It's claimant, CLAIM, I'm going to spell it right, .ca.gov, and go to that, and you'd be surprised. My son found money, so I haven't found any, but everyone should check it out. So those are the big things for Western Riverside Council of Governments. Next slide, please. All right, so this is the important part, and I thank Councilman Sheridan for reminding us to vote, and to vote for the mayor. So just a couple things. So the write-in candidate period is still going on. It goes from September 9th to October 22nd. Voter information guides are being mailed out, so most of us have already received them. Drop-off ballot locations are open from October 7th, which was yesterday, to November 5th. So right at our City Hall, you can drop off your ballots. And voter registration still is available. So if you have not registered to vote, you can still register to vote. You can go to the Riverside County Register of Voters and register to vote there. And that's through October 21st. So drop-off centers are open from October 26th to November 5th. Our 4-day vote centers are open November 2nd to November 5th. Election day is the 5th. Final certification results are done on December 10th. So when you get those absentee ballots, everyone pretty much votes by mail now. Please don't wait. Take a moment. Look at the book. I refer to a lot of people because I've had the fortunate, I've gone out knocking on some doors to help Matthew for the water board. And there's a lot of misinformation out there. And I call it sort of the soundbite society. People have the sound bites, but they don't have a clue what it means. And people run with those sound bites. And so, again, take the time, look at the initiatives, read through it, look at the pros and cons, see how they fit us, and please vote. And don't just vote, just because someone else did or whatever. Please take the time to do an educated vote. I will say this, when I was knocking on the door, I went to one door and the guy said, I can't vote for Matthew, I have to vote for Harvey. I said, you can vote for Matthew because Harvey's in a different district. So those of you, Harvey Ryan is running for the water board, you can vote for him. And Matthew Dobler is in the other district, you can vote for that. So that's another thing that I think a lot of people don't realize, that we have these nice little unique districts. So please take the time and look at that. All right, next slide, please. To get out the vote, so again, these are some places where you can vote in person. Aaron Chevrolet, Canyon Lake Middle School, Lake Community Center, Lakeland Village Community Center, and outlets at Lake Elsinore. And then ballot drop-offs are at Aaron Chevrolet, Lake Elsinore City Hall, Lakeland Village Community Center, and the outlets at Lake Elsinore. So please, let's get those ballots in early. Let's get them in early. All right, if we can just come back to me, just a couple other things I want to talk about. So I want to thank the Ryans for their event. You know, it was a very special event. Thank you for what you do for your daughter, in memory of your daughter. The community really appreciates it. We had a great time, and so I just want to thank you for that and for keeping that spirit of Lake Elsinore alive. Yesterday, October 7th, is the year anniversary when Hamas crossed the border into Israel and slaughtered hundreds of Israelis, took several captives. 102 still remain in captivity. 32 of them are presumed dead. So these terrorists are holding people and stuff. So I just don't want people to forget what happened that day. And again, we need to support our Jewish community, the country of Israel. I stand by them. And please, let's not forget, because when we forget, things like this happen again. These are terrorists. And now, if you look at what's happening in the Middle East, it's not just Hamas, it's Hezbollah. Recently, one of the Hezbollah leaders that was responsible for the bombing in 1983, I was in Beirut at that time, I was on land, I was on a ship, that killed 241 Americans, 219 Marines, and the rest were sailors and Army. He was killed by Israel, so I want to personally thank Israel for giving those young Americans their justice, because it took a long time. That was 1983. So again, let's stand by Israel and the Jewish people, please. And then also, hurricanes have done devastating to the East Coast. Hundreds of people are presumed dead. There are several people missing. And so in these response, it's a shame that our government can't necessarily get it together, because this is what I do every day, prepare for a response, coordinate a response and stuff like this. And so when the fires happened in Maui, you know, the issue came up about we can only give Americans $750, you know, for relief. Now they're asking people in these areas that are just torn apart, devastated by the floods, trying to get them $750. And I think the other day we sent $139 million to Lebanon. This year we've sent over $65 billion to Ukraine. And I mean, the number goes on and on and on. FEMA has more money for their immigration programs than they have to do for their disaster response, which is a disaster in itself, because FEMA was designed for these types of emergencies, not to deal with the immigration issue. But there is more money for immigration than there is for actual victim relief, and that's a shame. And so I think we need to really think carefully. Again, most of the things that impact us are our local votes. That's why it's so important that we vote for a mayor and water board members that are going to do the right thing. But we need people in Washington that's going to do the right thing. And so I just want people to think about that when they vote. And with that, I say thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. All right. Let's thank everybody for their patience. We're going to start off. We've got a State of the City address coming up here, October 17th, only 9 days away. We're still pulling it together, folks. It's getting down to crunch time. It's like when you're dealing with a play and you're putting things together. I don't know if you've ever done that. And it's just, you know, it's all going to come together. I know it's going to come together, but it's still a work in progress right this moment as we speak. So, no, it's going to be absolutely wonderful working on videos, and it's going to be a very entertaining thing. October 17th, 5:30 p.m. I don't know if tickets are still available. I'm looking at Matthew Dobler, and they are not available. So I'm just giving the information then. It will be live streamed, and I think there will be a few tables that are provided, or maybe some seating or whatnot provided to the public. So reach out to the chamber. I'll make it their problem. Very good. All right, we'll talk to you about it afterwards. Next up, Trunk or Treat, October 12th, 2024. We're all full of jokes this evening. It's been a very interesting, okay. October 12th, 2024, from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. We've moved the Trunk or Treat from Main Street, which is under construction right now, not looking great, probably not great for kids to be walking around on. So the decision was made to move it over to the Diamond Stadium. And so this will be the first time we do it at Diamond Stadium. If you've never done the Trunk or Treat before, then you'll know, then you don't know. Everybody gets dressed up. The kids are able to go around. If you live in an area that's, not conducive for trick-or-treating, this may be your opportunity to go ahead and get the kids out for like an early, get their candy, their sugar fix and whatnot. It's very safe, great decorations. We've got, things that the kids can do there on site, and certainly it's a lot of fun. This is one of the things the city does to help kind of bring us together as a community. So check it out. I will be there, and we're encouraging people to get dressed up.
What's your costume?
My costume is yet to be determined yet, as a matter of fact. But we'll pull something. It's a lot like the State of the City address. We'll pull it together. That's what we do. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the decorum, and good night. We are adjourned.